Hi, my name is Tracy Chauvin. I'm going to be going through some special education interviews with you for EDL 853. For these interviews, I spoke with a former building principal who is now in a district level role, a current special education teacher, and a current paraprofessional. I gave them each a set of questions that were all similar and all had the same theme and tone, but maybe were worded just slightly different based on their positions. One of the ones that I really was curious about was their rewarding moments. What did they find most rewarding when working with the special education department and population? The building principal said students being motivated, engaged, and committed to their goals, them wanting to reach those goals, seeing those aha moments. Our special education teacher said the light bulb moments, especially when parents start to see the skills that the students have worked so hard on. And she mentioned multiple times that every win is big. No matter how it might seem small, every single win is big. Our paraprofessionals said watching a student use their skills. They're frequently the ones in the trenches day after day after day, in a classroom day after day after day with our students, practicing, reinforcing, prompting. So when they start to see them using those skills, celebrating those and making sure that the student is celebrating their accomplishments too. Some challenges that might occur within a special education department. The principal spoke about hiring and retaining talented, passionate staff, that there was a higher rate of burnout that he saw within his buildings whenever it came to the special education students and the special education staff specifically. Our special education teacher said follow through on plans is a big challenge. And then she mentioned that it can be due to having such a large team, multiple staff working with the student. There might be miscommunication or discomfort with implementing a plan. But in the end, when we allow any of those to have us not follow through with the plan, then it takes away from the student. The paraprofessional spoke about time, changing and shifting schedules, and then behavior both from the student and the staff might be a challenge. That maybe the staff isn't as on board, or the child might be a little bit more resistant to the plan than we would want. Supervision. A principal says that they really need to supervise staff heavily and support them heavily so that they feel empowered to support students and family. There was conversation around this being our most vulnerable population, so making sure that the staff that works with them feels supported. The special education teacher said when supervising paras, you have to trust the team. You have to make sure that there are people in place that know what they're doing, and that falls on you to make sure that they know what they're doing, to communicate constantly to build their confidence so that they feel competent even when the special education teacher is not around. Then if something happens, they don't ever feel disrespected or undermined or resentful whenever there is constructive feedback given. The paraprofessional really emphasized treating everyone with respect, valuing the input. Again, he's the one that's there every single day doing that work with that student, so they have valuable input. They're with a student sometimes more often than the case manager is. The parents, what's it like to work with special education parents? The principal says relationships. They're the driver. They're a key, the parent and the student are the key stakeholders on that team because it's all about them. So making sure that they know that is huge as a principal and administrator. The special ed teacher said working with parents is all about open lines of communications. They're the valued members of the team, so making sure that they're constantly being updated so that nothing is a surprise. And the paraprofessional said that for her role, it's making sure that the things she sees that are important in the day-to-day workings, that the SPED case manager has all of that information to give to parents. Our regular education teachers, what it's like to work with them in terms of a special education student. The principal says just making sure that they have all the information they need, questions are answered, and that they're coached whenever the need arises. Because you want to make sure that the special ed teacher is working collaboratively to meet the needs of the student, but you want everybody to feel comfortable. The special education teacher says that in case managing roughly 14 students, you have to make sure that the regular education teachers have regular communication, regular feedback, and they also feel like members of the team. And our paraprofessional said that since she's frequently co-teaching and pulling students out of that room, she needs to try to coordinate what is happening in class to ensure that the students' needs are being met. That has been a common theme so far. Ensuring student needs are met, making sure everybody gets their needs met. What's the role of the special education teacher and the principal? The principal sees it as hiring competent staff and then making sure that they know he's always there for them, that he trusts them, he trusts the process, and he trusts the people he hires. And he was very adamant that that be huge within his building and the community so that staff really felt empowered to do their jobs. The special education teacher says that the SPED team, specifically like a school psychologist or a special education coordinator, is there to do the paperwork, planning, curriculum decisions, and supervise paras. That a building administrator is there to support and guide the entire building to making sure the needs are met. So that's the way that she sort of sees the building principal role in terms of the special education teacher and the principal role. The para says the SPED teacher is the day-to-day leader and supervisor of the SPED department. That is their go-to person. That's who they look to for advice. And the principal is more removed from those day-to-day workings. So that was a pretty actually consistent response from all three participants is the principal hires competent people that know what they're doing and ensures that they have their needs met to do what they need to do. What are some characteristics of a leader? What do they look for specifically in regards to a special education department and staff? The principal, when they're looking to hire a special education staff, they're looking for a strong knowledge base of laws, policies, procedures. They're looking for compassion, the ability to build relationships, and someone that respects the unique needs of every single student that they're going to be working with and the families. The special education teacher is looking for honest, unbiased, collaborative, calm leader, a problem solver, again with a knowledge base regarding laws and procedures. They want someone that's there to coach them and guide them, and someone that they can go to as a teammate and a leader on that team. The paraprofessional is looking for a school leader that's empathetic and fair to all with no preconceived judgments. They're looking for somebody that they can go to for help and support if needed. They were looking for somebody that had an open ear regarding all students and that would listen to all sides. Any advice for a first-year up-and-coming educational leader? The principal says, you have to be willing to learn and grow all the time. You can't be an expert on everything. You're expected to be knowledgeable about everything, but always respect the expertise of others and grow from that. He also mentioned making sure that you cultivate the leadership from within your own building. When you're looking at that special education department, making sure that when you see a paraprofessional, when you see a special ed teacher that wants to grow, wants to do more, empower them to go and do that. Help create that shared vision within the community for what it will look like so that special education students are always at the heart of it as well. The special ed teacher says that for a first-year administrator, listen, empower the staff to come to you. Be a problem solver and support everyone so that they can have difficult conversations with team members that might arise or tough decisions that need made. They would like the administrator, that first-year leader, to be the person that they can go to for help with those things. The paraprofessional says it all goes back to relationships, making expectations clear for all and having the same expectations for all. When thinking about each of the three respondents' answers, there was one common theme the entire time, and it was, this is about the students, this is about the kids, this is about the families. They're the heart and soul of our building, including in our special education department. You did see a common theme in many of the answers of the principal and the administrator being the building leader, but maybe not so much the day-to-day leader of the special education department, the special education teachers and paras, and that they might not always have the highest level of expertise. So being okay with the team of school psych or school special education coordinator being the go-to person for questions and answers regarding laws and policy. For myself, I can see that being a huge part of my role because I was a special education social worker for years in multiple districts, is I do have background in special education law and implementing those policies. So I can see myself being a go-to person while still constantly relying on the people this is their specialty. So I can see that being my role, the go-to day-to-day person, and then the responsibility of making sure that we're doing everything correctly, falling to me to be able to get those answers from others, that this is their expertise. I do see myself more as a hands-on in terms of responsibilities than the administrator that I interviewed. I am just more of a hands-on leader, and I trust you, and I know that I have competent staff. I know that this is your expertise, but I also want to know that we're keeping our most vulnerable population getting the best services that they can at all times. So I can see myself checking in frequently. I can making sure that gen ed teachers, regular ed teachers, have the support that they need from our special education department, and vice versa, and being more hands-on in that respect. But overall, the answers were pretty consistent, fairly consistent with what I do believe as an educational leader for the community that I hope to lead. Thank you again for walking through these special education interviews with me.